Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. Today, I want to walk through a framework that my friend and business partner Julie shared with me. And then I want to tell you why I think the framework is fantastic, but the order might be a little bit off. I think my disagreement with respect to the order of things, it might be the most useful part of this whole episode. So stick with me here. So the framework that Julie taught me is called B.E.A.R. 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 It stands for beliefs, emotion, action, results. Belief, emotion, action, results. Here's how it's supposed to work. Okay. You believe, you have these beliefs, what you're convinced is possible, that sets the foundation. Those beliefs generate emotion or excitement, energy, passion, just passion for the goal. That emotion, that excitement inspires action, which is you actually doing the thing, you doing the action. And that action produces results. And then the results, of course, reinforce the belief and the loop repeats at a higher level. And I think it's a really clean framework. Belief drives emotion, emotion drives action, action drives results. And I think there's a lot of truth in it, right? Like your beliefs, of course, matter. I mean, if you're carrying around a belief like I'm bad with money or I'm not a great salesperson, well, that belief is going to steer your behavior. There's no debate there. But here's my problem with it. Okay, here's at least I think the core problem I have with it. I think it's the starting point. I think it's the starting point with this loop. If the loop starts with belief, and belief creates the emotion, and the emotion gets you moving, then what happens when you don't believe yet? Right? Like what happens when you don't have that belief yet? What happens when you're not excited? I'll tell you what happens. You wait. You wait till you feel ready. You wait for confidence. You wait for the motivation to show up. We just talked about this in a number of episodes last week. You could be waiting forever. And I've seen this in business over and over. I've seen this in life over and over. I know I've experienced this myself. The person who's maybe going to go launch the thing once they feel sure about it, or the owner who's going to make the hard change, once they have confidence that that change will in fact work. They're not being lazy. They're just running the loop in the wrong order. So here's how I'd rearrange the letters, and I might start calling it, instead of the B.E.A.R loop, it's the R.B loop. I would start with A. Action, results, belief, excitement. Action first. Action first. Even when there's doubt, even when there's zero motivation, even when you don't have the belief yet, you move. You move anyways. You take action because that action is going to produce some sort of result. It might not be the perfect result or the one you were hoping for, but even a small result, like a first sale, or even smaller than that, a first string of great conversations, or the first workout, didn't necessarily make you stronger, but it was a first workout, or one uncomfortable conversation, in fact, handled like you chipped away. That action produced a result. That result, that's what builds the belief. It's not affirmations, while they're great. It's not visualization. It's all great. I love that stuff, but it's the proof that matters most. That's going to create the deepest belief. You look at what you just did and you think, hey, I can actually do this. I just proved that I could do some of it. And now you're excited. Now the energy shows up, and the excitement fuels bigger action and bigger results and stronger belief. So it's the same loop, but just a different order. It's the same four ingredients, but just a different starting point. Here's the truth about how this actually works. Action precedes motivation. And it's not the other way around. I know we've been taught so many times throughout business and life that it is the other way around. You get motivated, you believe, you visualize, and then you get into action. No, action precedes motivation. You don't act because you feel ready. You feel ready because you acted. In other words, confidence is not the entry fee here. Confidence is the receipt. We've covered this on the show before. Confidence as an output, not as an input. This is the same principle, just in a new episode here. So the one place, the original framework, I think, what I should say is, one place the original framework is still really useful, in my opinion, is diagnosis. If you don't like your current results, then you've got to run the loop backwards, right? Regardless of RB or B.E.A.R, if you don't like your current results, and you got to diagnose, you got to run it backwards. So look at your results and then track the actions or the inaction that produced them. Notice the emotion that was driving those actions, if it's fear or doubt or comfort. And underneath that emotion, find the belief. That backward audit is probably worth doing. It shows you what story maybe you've been running. So let's go through this again, because I don't want to confuse anybody. The RB framework or the B.E.A.R framework, again, I'm going with RB. In terms of diagnosis, you're going to work your way backwards from that R, right? So if I have a result that I'm not happy with, what were the actions or the inaction that produced them? And if I go to what emotion was driving maybe those actions, was there some fear or doubt? And then underneath that emotion, what was the belief or lack thereof? Again, that's the backward audit. But when it's time to change the story, don't sit there trying to think your way into a new belief. Act your way into that new belief. Take the action that contradicts the old belief and let the result prove things out. Let the result do the arguing for you. Okay. So here's your action item for the week. Pick one thing that you've been waiting to feel ready for. Maybe it's, again, the launch of a new service or product, or a conversation or a call or a habit. Pick one thing you've been waiting to start until you felt ready. You're not allowed to wait anymore. This week, I want you to take the smallest real action on it that you can. One step that produces an actual result of some sort, no matter how small it is. Then I want you to pay attention to what happens to your belief afterward. I'm betting the belief moves in a positive direction. I'm betting the excitement follows right behind that. So start with A, get into action. Let the results happen. Let the belief build. Let the excitement compound, and watch what happens with the action from there. That's all I have for you today, the No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's get after it.